Hey, just getting wired up. This is as you know, we're fully wired here. And as usual, I'm scrambling to find out the best way for both of us to broadcast. So if anybody has any reason to want to get into this and want a bit of a consultation beforehand, I'm definitely the one. I've been up, down, all around, inside out, backwards and forwards. I've tried every bit of gear there is known to man. So, as such, not going to be as good as dealing with any kind of questions or stuff like that. Hopefully you're not in a huge hurry here. I got good stuff to talk about, but I just have to get something. All right. I'm going to put this here, and then I can monitor myself so I know where I am. So I'm trying something different. Ah, it's showing up. All right. Really tired of wires. Really tired of wires. I was gonna do some practicing, and I just figured, what the heck? You might as well join in. Like just getting organized, like, I don't know, starting, with getting my fingers going. That's the first thing I do. We all have our favorite things or backing tracks, so I can't recommend anything, but this is from T Guitar, right? Right here on YouTube. All right, so what we're going to talk about today. So we got a little stuff, obviously, for everybody, but beginners for sure, because that's what we're all about here, is either getting people to get this instrument in their hands and start, you know, their journey towards playing songs and having fun. Where it goes from there, hey, you can take it anywhere, right? I like to get the brain arranged with the fingers. You know? So I usually go through a series of, now you know me, I practice what I preach. And I always talk about that second fret here. And these notes specifically, right? The A string fretted at the second fret and played open. The next one down is the D string played open and the E string fretted. Now I use the same finger. You might use your first finger. Whatever it is, you'll probably use that finger all the way down. I'm using my big fat middle finger because it's useless at anything else. And I run them down this way. And now I go one more to the G string open and the A fretted on that same second fret. So all of you potential acoustic masters, this is a really good exercise to get into. Go till you get sore, baby. Okay? Because you're going to find moving forward, this fat finger here is going to become pretty important. That's if you want to play by using notes of either that chord or a scale or whatever to tie everything together, to create a little bit of texture in your... So this is all, while it may seem intimidating or too hard to get, there's a few things that I really want you to take notice when you watch me play, is I don't make a lot of movements with my hands and fingers, per se, when I'm playing chords. And what I mean is I try to find the quickest route between two chords. And when I eliminated playing my G this way, really what was happening was the E would be considered neutral. But most of the chords I was playing, I was on kind of like a 45 up here like this to me, okay? So it just was a more, and then when I learned that F triad there, okay, to avoid playing this, right, then it all became more comfortable for me. Hey guys, I'm getting my messages from somewhere and I'm trying to, on my camera somewhere else. So if if I'm a little bit late responding, sorry about that. It's a little confusing, but for us musician types. Welcome everybody. And hello, Jonathan. And if you're still there, Andrew McDonald, a big howdy back to you. All right. So yeah, we're talking about a little bit of simple basic stuff, and we're talking about a little advanced stuff as well. So we've kind of led into the, planning ahead to make our open chords seem better, right? Which some would say, oh, then makes you a better guitar player, which I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's time to spruce things up. There's so many things we can do other than have to resort to bar chord hell or triad torture or scale scolding. We don't need to. All right. So there's a lot of things that we can do naturally, organically, that when we start applying theory and thinking about theory, like I did I played 5 years, didn't know what a key was. We can then go back and relate things so quick and join some past, like you can go back. So for those people that tell you, you have to learn this stuff first because if you can't, well, just ask them if they learned how to build the engine in their car before they learned how to drive it and see what their answer is. And it's a pretty fair analogy because all you need to know to drive a car for 45 years is where to put the key and what those pedals do and how does that wheel work. That's it. If it breaks, you take it to someone who can fix it. So sometimes with guitar, the mistake we make is being forced to learn or being made to think we have to learn all these ridiculously complex techniques and theological things about music. It's like learning a second language, okay? If you really want to learn how to read music and relate to music in that way, it's a second language. And somehow in my journeys, it got woven into I had to know some of this stuff. Guys with charts pointing things out, and there's moving letters and triads and dyads and sevenths and I just said, you know what? I don't need this. I'm out of here. So that had all just ended a 1-year reign of bar chord hell, scales, trying to learn that minor pentatonic and didn't know what it was for, didn't know the notes. Learning everything by the numbers, 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, or a tab, 02, 02, 02. That doesn't do you any good once you leave that fret and that string. I was doing everything like everybody does, and because I didn't know any better. So when that happened to me, I just said, that's it. Quit. 6 months later, got re-energized, and I came back. And of course, I did the exact same thing. Started trying to learn bar chords and learn scales and figure out, instead of just playing a song, okay? Instead of just playing a song, instead of doing that, I decided that I had to pick out and play every single note that so-and-so did on that record. And blah, 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 blah. And it bogged me down to the point where that's all I did all day, every day, was try to memorize note for note this whole song to impress my guitar playing buddies. Not realizing that it's not only impossible, it's ridiculous. That's not how you play this or any other instrument. It's not paint by numbers, right? Having said that, then I realized down the road that numbers are very important when I started getting theoretical. And you will too. But for now, open the window and throw all that junk out, all right? Because that's absolute garbage. The more you play around with that garbage, if you're not a career background musician or had formal music, piano training as a kid or anything like that, that had planted more than a seed, then if you're not like that, you throw that stuff out. You don't need it. In fact, when I threw mine out the window, I kind of remember the day. I threw mine out the window when I had a musical moment. And I realized that in the last 20 minutes of noodling in my room at that time, I had sounded way better and more fluid and more musical than I had ever in all those years of turning the pages and looking at the tabs and was it a 2? It's a 2. Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. I mean, it was like being in biochemical engineering class. It was just too much. Okay, so if you're going through that, forget it. You don't need any of that stuff. I got 2 videos running on YouTube right now that explain, if you're a raw beginner, how the quickest way is. And it's pretty much straight to the point. The quickest way to go from, hey, what's this, to here's my first song. I don't want to hit copyrights, but insert the million songs here. All right? You can get from 0 to that in as long as it takes you. So what do I mean by that? All right, instead of wasting your time on all this theory stuff and how to position and grab your guitar and play your guitar, hold your guitar and see what's comfortable. And then you're going to notice, you don't as a beginner yet, but you're going to notice that everybody you watch play guitar, they all hold it differently. They all play it differently. Their hands are in different positions. Their elbows are out here, their elbows are in here. Their shoulders are down, their shoulders are up. Everybody's different. Yet for some reason, we got it in our head that we have to be I'm a robot, a guitar playing robot. But I look proper doing it. No, you play your guitar how you play your guitar. So, right away, you can throw that part of the book out the window, right, as a beginner. The best, easiest way, and I've tried it all. And, I get so many people just make comments about, man, you're right. It's so simple. Make it so simple that it becomes really like just you're good at it and it becomes second nature. And then see what happens from there. And you'd be surprised what happens to you, where you go with your guitar playing, and the things that you're able to learn on the fly with little effort. Why? Because that whole guitar foundation thing, left hand, right hand, ear, and brain, it's on autopilot. Your brain doesn't have to distribute all its RAM, just like a computer. And when there's no more RAM left, the computer starts freezing until it gets new RAM. That's lifeblood, right? It's the space. So the same thing happens. Once you can do all this without having to think about it, Jonathan, hey, you are absolutely, well, that's exactly the routine. I did it too, but I've got binders. I got 4 binders this thick of songs. Never played a song in my life at that point, 50 years old, and here I am trying to play, 352 of the classic 600 songs that were ever written with no musical training, no background. Oh, but I'm learning guitar. So, right away, like we're down on ourselves because we don't sound like the record. But yeah, I hear you. So many, but, again, it's all about that comfort level. So you give me somebody that all they do is a few things, and every day, everything they work on makes those things bigger, stronger, better, faster, smoother, louder, softer, okay? What you're also doing simultaneously is you are building and refining the motor skills that are so necessary to play this instrument, because without them, you can't do anything. You can learn all the theory you want. You can know all your scales inside out, backwards and forwards, every position everywhere. But if you can't physically do it, it's of no use to you, right? So you got to remember that. Like it's right? So anyways, for you beginners, we went off track. We were talking about when you get to that point where the chords, you want more. And that the point of that whole ramble was before you start getting into having to think that you got to start playing your chords this way or this way, right? This is a whole different thing. And all you're really doing, here's what you're doing by branching off into bar chords, is you're learning how to play the same chord that you've refined, and maybe more than 3, 4, 5, maybe you've refined all of your open chords at this point. But now you're just basically going to take time, a lot of time, to relearn the same chords played in a different way. So I already know how to play, G, A, C, D, or whatever, right? Do I need to know how to play G, A, C, D? Do I need that? I don't think I do. Later down the road. And the better my guitar skills get, in other words, the motor skills, the juggler, right? Hand, eye, brain, figure everything out, give everything room to do your thing. It's all a mechanism. That's playing guitar. So obviously, we're not going to be able to do much until we develop that. And luckily, we can play with just the basics of 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We can turn that into a song around the campfire at night. At night. All right. You see my point? We can do it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Whatever. Okay? We can do that. And that's cool. If that's your goal, good for it. Go for it. And this is how you would do that. You would just literally let inner Google. Let me just take some of that. A bit of reverb on there. I think I was singing earlier. Take what the inner Google tells you, and away you go. Learn those chords. Learn those 2 or 3 chords, and you'd be surprised. A lot of those old folky songs like that, basically, if they start in G, they either go to D and back to the G. I will stand up for my country. Right? The blowing in the wind and all this kind of stuff. Whatever the chords are, it's just a couple of chords back and forth. It's really simple stuff. And that's where I really started, the light went on for me. I'm like, why am I pit-addling around with all of this other complicated stuff that makes me miserable? My hands hurt. Anyways, I quit. Second time. So now I've quit. So I played for almost a year, struggled. Played a few songs. I did an open mic here and there, right? Probably not very well. And then quit. 6 months later, get all reinvigorated at a folk concert, folk festival, and came home, and I remember the guy's name, and there's a story to that, and I will tell it one day because I'd rather tell it. I might be able to get someone that was there that day, but it's quite a moment for me meeting this person. Anyways, another thing. So I got reinvigorated and went for another year, but basically with the same strategy, just picking up where I left off, trying to still fludge through these bar chords, and then I just ended up quitting again. But this time was different because I had come so far. I had started to write songs, and I knew that this was something I could do. I just didn't know how to go about it. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I just started to realize how songs are written, how it all works, what chords are played the most, all that kind of stuff, why they're played the most. And that's why I came up with the 3-chord rule. And I didn't even know what this was. I didn't know what a key was. This for me changed everything. I sat down, and over the course of, I wish I had documented it, but a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, did this. Started like this. Right? Fumbling around. I'm going to spare you with the gory details. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Missing the fingers and making it sound terrible, then stopping and all that. Looking and putting your finger. Get it. I'm assuming now where even if you don't make it, you're going to go this far, to the point where you can actually sit and, get through a C chord and change it to a D chord, or G or D, whatever your chords are. So, look, if you sat there every night and did nothing but work on those chords, whatever they are. The other three sets are, or three chord sets are E, A, D. Okay, those three, if you learn those three chords, or any two of those three to start, and you can move nicely, smoothly, seamlessly, crisply, whatever the word, through the three of them in any order, now you're ready to make some serious music, because some of the all-time amazing songs were written with those three chords, and it was how they're played. See, remember, if I knew this when I was at that point, it would have been very important, because it's this time around that I realized it's not what I know, it's how I know it. So it's not how much stuff I know, it's how little stuff I can play really good. So I started with the three major chords of each key, and I just pounded them out every day. So for 1 week, 2 weeks, it was G. Strumming was basic at first. This was it. Downs, maybe the odd up. That used to confuse me. Okay, I didn't have an F in there. So it was basically these three and an E. That's how I started. So then when I realized that it's probably best to move the E out of the way for now, and I just polished what I knew. Within 2-3 weeks, I was playing those chords every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day. I'm not going to lie. I was dedicated, but so are a lot of you people. When you start, you're putting everything aside for this. And in a way, that's almost like you have to do the first year. It's got to be your obsession, because for obvious reasons that you're finding out now. Because if you disrespect it, it will bite you hard. Again, another analogy I always make is much like any of you out there that have tried to take up the game of golf later in life. Not when you're young and strong and spry. No. When you're, starting to get crickety and achy and things don't stretch like they used to those years. It's very frustrating and just when you think you're getting pretty good at it, it can be really humbling. And this is the same. So we got to treat it that way. So the more of this that you do, you don't know it yet, but the more of this that you do, the act of these two hands working together seamlessly and hopefully error-free to meticulously left hand finger out the chord, or the strings you need to make the chord, and worry about the formations, where to fret, where not to fret. And this hand knows exactly what strings to start the strumming process on, therefore creating, what's the basis string. So you know that if you're going to play a D with the left hand, then you can only strum those 4 strings, 5 for C, 6 for G and E, and, so on and so forth. So you got to get to that point, right? That's what you're working on every time for 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, whatever it is you pick up your guitar. Get the basics first. Build that guitar foundation. Every day, strum that guitar. As far as what chords you're strumming, trust me, once these two hands are not only working together, but your brain has seen your fingers work and said, hey, if he can make a C, well, he can sure make an A minor. Or if he can make a G, he can sure make an E minor, and on and on. And that's, once that becomes, you broke the ice with those 3 chords, 2 or 3 chords. Now it gets easier, right? So don't get down. Just keep strumming, whether it's with a pick, whether it's fingers, thumbs, however you want to proceed. Definitely won't offend me. I love playing like this. I love playing like that. You know. Just another, hey everybody, sorry I don't see the messages too good, but hi everybody. That's a personal preference. The reality is though, the pick is going to be very important moving forward for you, unless you really specifically develop your, a certain style that you know you're not going to come back from, because you will need to adjust. The pick is very difficult, or very different than playing finger. So you have to adjust. There's different sensitivity on the strings now, different placement to pick that note cleanly or that string cleanly. So it's really best at the beginning, when you're sort of trying everything out, to try the pick and then try not the pick and see what you prefer. But I think both will make you a more versatile guitar player, and it's something that you should aspire to do. You should be able to play, not necessarily picking out notes at this point, but even if you're just a chord player, you should have your way of sort of, like I use a lot of times in a quiet, small environment, I will just use the side of my thumb like this. Okay? Right? And then sometimes what I'll do, that little flick that you're seeing and hearing there, that's just my finger coming up the treble. So I'm playing an A minor here, so I'm getting the deep part coming down, and then I hit that treble going up, but not every time. Right? Every few, just to establish, like that's just another thing I do, to add a little bit of spice to that otherwise kind of sound, right? But so you could play like that, or a lot of times what I'll do when I want to sort of dig in a little bit is I'll put these two fingers together. It takes a second to, depending on how long your nails are, to kind of zone in on volume and how hard you should attack the strings with these nails. It may look, the way I'm playing, that I have a pick in my hand, but I'm really just emulating that whole holding the pick pattern and using my nails. If I have longer nails than usual, I'll have to back off, because it can become very, very loud, especially if you're mic'd up. That's why I'm looking over here at a mixer to see if I'm bouncing into the yellow when I just use this, and that's no pick, right? So, but generally for me, this is probably my favorite way of playing, is something like this. which is kind of like a combination of strumming. My guitar is a little bit, it needs a tune-up. But you see, a little bit of both for me, right? A little bit of strumming when I want to, and then some picking. Long answer, but that's what I do. I give long answers. But yeah, it's personal preference. But you should become good at both, or proficient at both. So where we were starting out here on the show tonight, before we branched off into the world of beginnerism, we had started about some options that before you went into, again, bar chord hell and all that triad torture. Again, assuming that you're not wanting to pick up theory and you don't really want to go there at this point, right? Then the easiest thing to do is by using tab-like memory, by developing basically the ability to play notes in between your chords, as you saw. We call them walk-ups, walk-downs, but they're really just, I call them diddly-doos. That's what I call them. Right? That's what I call them. So a diddly-do is just when you wander from one chord to another instead of crisp chord changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. 2, 3, 4, change. Right? Nothing wrong with that. But now we want to get to this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Right? Any way you want to use those notes and how many you want to use. But you got to know which notes to play. So generally, that's where your guitar theory comes in, because, you know, if you're playing, say, a G, a C, and a D, you're in the key of G, well, you got these notes right here as part of like a minor-y pentatonic scale. And all of these notes right here will go just fine with all of the open chords that you play right here. And I included the F as an open chord. Oh, and I realize you might not be able to see that. I included the, I don't even know if I need that over there, do I? I included the F as an open chord. I call it the 9th open chord. It's not an open chord. It's technically a triad. I've done a show on this alone, so we'll leave it for now. But I call that the 9th open chord. And when I learned that, that was an F, a very acceptable F, to use in songs that I used to just skip over because they had an F in them and I couldn't do that, right? And so that was amazing. And it is, I think, for a lot of you as well. And I think it's important that you understand. Welcome, David. You look at the strings all you want. Yes. Yeah, you look at the strings as often as you need to. Okay? This is just like anything else you've ever taught yourself to do in life. At first, you can't see nothing. You're just blind with what exact thing you have to do. Get that C chord, get that D chord, right? So part of it is looking. You'll even get confused if all of a sudden you're standing up with a strap. Oh my God, it's a different view. I can't make a C chord. I don't know where my fingers go. it can be so delicate as a beginner that if one thing, even the type of guitar, someone your buddy hands a guitar to you, here, play me that C and D you're learning, and it's like, oh my God, this looks so different, it feels different, right? And there's so much truth to that when you're a raw beginner. So, yeah, look all you want. I still look. You know what I actually look at more, to be honest? So when you first start guitar in the first month or two, it's all about the left, right? It's all about looking to the left hand, and essentially your brain is focused on the left part of your body. But what you're going to realize later is that it's actually the right side is the most important side. It's what you do over here. But we've talked about that in other shows. And that's my whole point here, is that the sooner that you get this right hand into play, where so many of us made the mistake of learning our open chords, even playing basic versions of songs, and instead of fully developing what potential we have here through strumming patterns to begin with, this is the color. This is the black and white. That's black and white. This is the color. Without this, this isn't a picture, a song, right? That's what you will understand. Now, some of us, or you, will understand that quicker than others. I was one of the others because I kept trying to do things, how? By the book. Well, the book says, the book says, the book says. And like I opened the show with, take the window, throw the book out. You don't need the book. All right? Because the book doesn't know how you hold the guitar. The book doesn't know anything about your past experience with hand-eye coordination things. Were you an athlete? Were you a precision something? Did you come from a job where you needled and thread and you were nimble and good with your fingers and good hand-eye coordination? It doesn't know that, right? And that's going to be that alone is one of the biggest factors and reasons why people quit the guitar, and why some take a few months to get really good and others take a few years to get really good. It's that unknown factor. For those of you on the low end of the scale where you're really you've never done anything, this whole, even just, it's really difficult, it will get easier. But if it never does, you'll still be able to play songs at a level that will still be enjoyable. Like you'll still be able to play a basic version of, hopefully it doesn't trip a copyright, but knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Right? You can still play those chords like this. So, that's the beauty of this. But for everybody else, so my point here is that you are not going to be a better guitar player or considered a better guitar player the more things that you can do, unless you do those things perfectly with polish. Otherwise, you will be judged on what you do well. So you might as well play your open chords, learn how to play thousands of songs, more than you could even remember, without even having to play a bar chord. Especially when your trusty, wherever my trusty capo is, you start bringing in a capo. I don't know where my capo is. Oh, it's over there. So you start bringing in a capo to the party, and now, you can play anywhere and everywhere. So the answer is to the quickest way to get from zero to hero is hunker down and specifically dedicate all your practice time to what it is that the components that will make you be able to do what you want to do. So if it's to play songs at anywhere from a basic to intermediate level, then your focus should be sculpting the way you play the ingredients, that you use the ingredients. Just like a chef takes food from various sources and wherever from, and is able to turn them into something edible and often delicious. The skill, the expertise, the attention to detail, the commitment, the hours, that has been doing this. Same thing here, right? We can't expect to sound like our heroes after a few weeks, months, or, to be honest, even years. But that doesn't mean we still can't sound pretty good and have fun doing it. And that should be the goal, right? Again, because you'll realize on your rounds, you will notice that there are all kinds of people playing guitar a different way. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. You can learn how to play these little dots in between your chords and start making little melodies with them. Just by playing around and practicing. And you don't have to know what scale these are from. You don't really have to know what the notes are, right? So there's a lot of things you can do to make your playing more interesting. And of course, you want to learn. For me, my first bar chord was B minor, and it just started coming up in all these songs that I wanted to play. So I learned it, but what I did was I just learned the B minor. I didn't care, know, or even think about moving it up to C, C sharp, D, all that stuff that you can do with the bar chord shape. I just wanted to me it was just B minor, and that was a B minor, because I knew if I could go from nothing to fingering a B minor, well, then I could go from nothing and fingering a D minor or an E minor or, whatever. There's the shape. Let's do it, right? So I just kept the B minor, and I really made sure that I could fit it into my open chord repertoire. To the A, we'll do the A that way, and then we'll do the A this way. And then here's why I do my A. See, the bar is already there. D's always come up after a B minor, and so do A minors a lot. So I practice just going back and forth like this. Just sit there for 5-10 minutes. Use your ears. Identify what they sound like. Remember, I'm using my fingers. It's going to sound very dull probably, or kind of maybe not quite as crisp. But I think it's a pretty good rendition of both A minor and D minor, or a B minor. And that's how you get better. So what do we just do it for? A minute? 2? Whatever? You put it away, right? Maybe later on you slip just a quickie in just to see, and you'll find, oh, it's so nice. But usually the next day, you come back to your guitar, and you'll, yeah. Right? That's, to me, how you get better. But what I did instead was I went off and started learning, okay, A minor pentatonic. Let's see, what do I do now? And I start like this, right? And like we all do or did or are doing. And I didn't know what the notes were. And I just, 5, 1, 2, 3, okay, 5, 8. Okay, I can't use my pinky. That sucks. The pinky hurts, and I got no strength in it. I don't want to use it. Why don't we just do this? Right? This is what I did. And then, 5, 7, that's this one. And this is, I don't have to go through it, right? It's painful. But I shouldn't have even bothered with that. Because when I was ready, when I had the proper guitar foundation, man, I just zing through that anyways. Right? I mean, it's just part of, that was the scale. Oh, okay, that was pretty easy. What are the notes? What do I do again? Show me, do it again, and you're in. Where when you're a beginner, you're like fumbling around. So anything you start to learn after you build your guitar foundation is pretty easy, right? So, um, was there another question? I think. Oh, hi, Nicholas. So no problem. Thank you. That's my goal. Absolutely. Hi, is it Michael or Mikel Sorrentino? Sorrentino. Sorry, I don't know if I see that right, but hello, how are you? And thank you, Nilavo. Uh, so yeah, look, don't get discouraged, right? Because there's other ways to play and learn this instrument. You don't have to go to the conservatory school of music. You don't. You know, who cares? Unless you care. If you care, and that's what you want to be, and you're young, and you got the 10,000 hours to put into it, go for it. But the rest of us, we just want to have fun and express ourselves. And how can there be, if you like Spanish flamenco, right? And I like AC/DC rock and roll, our journeys are going to be, or should be, completely different, right? I mean, at the very bottom of the root, we would be connected if we choose to go there and learn why we would be connected. Why is hard rock the same as, Spanish flamenco music? Why is it all, where does it, separate? If you want to go through that theory, but you don't have to understand the this is two different ways to play the guitar that sound different. You're going to do different things with them. You're going to play different types of songs with them, right? So whatever it is you decide, so your journey is going to be different to mine. If someone says, Ray, I want to play Black Sabbath and I want to play Ozzy Osbourne stuff and Van Halen and 80s glam rock and all that, right? What do I do? Well, you put your acoustic guitar away, you get an electric guitar, you get yourself a couple of pedals, and learn power chords. And there are things called power chords, and they're so easy. They're two-note chords. You can play a third note, but it's the same note as one of the others, so it's still a two-note chord, but you can play them over three strings. And they're completely almost useless on an acoustic guitar, but we play them in the form of bar chords, right? Thanks, John. Well, that's what I'm here for. Hi, Kiro Pub Gaming. So, when you're ready, like, I didn't think I would ever get as far as I got, ever. But what happened to me was as I developed more skills, not theory skills, more hand eye coordination skills. So now I'm like the juggler adding the fourth ball. Oh, not many do that, right? Then, believe me, there's many more, right? There's jugglers do 6 or 7, 8 balls, whatever, I'm sure. But you're considered, that's how good you are, the more you can juggle. So on guitar, it's the more that you can do at the almost expert level. And if it's just play 3 or 4 chords or all of your open chords, but at an expert level, like you can pick it, you can finger pick it, you can add, you've got that, again, right hand. That gives you like the palm muting and the different types of strumming. You can, different kinds of, there's flat picking, there's chicken picking, there's plucking, and there's, whatever, arpeggiating, a little bit. Everything that you're able to add to your repertoire at that polished level, man, it's just going to make you soar and soar and soar, right? I know guys that can play like that, and they don't even know what chords are in a key, or why they're doing what they're doing. They can't explain it. You know, like they can't say, "Oh, well, I'm playing an A major triad and I'm adding a seventh with my pinky." They can't tell you that because they don't really know. They just know that if they play that chord like that and stick their pinky there, it sounds good. And can't get much easier than that, right? So, so yeah, again, there's so many things that you can do to beef up your open chord playing. But I really strongly suggest that you really wait. Um, and the last thing that comes, the last thing is, and it never really ends, is obviously it's your right hand. Because it's not all about, and this is how I'm going to finish off this show, is it's not all about um, the rhythm of the strum pattern, the up, the down, or the one and two and, or however you know it as. It's both the same, as you know by now, I'm sure. So the up and the down is it's your rhythm, right? But it's more than that. It When you start playing between the rhythm and understanding and just being able to stretch things and be as creative and still be within that structured box, that's when you're getting really good. And when you look at it and think about it, and when you get to the point where you can play like that, what you're doing is what we mentioned earlier. You're playing like no one's watching. You're playing with such a high level of confidence because you know this stuff inside and out, because you work on it all the time. You can't possibly know everything inside and out, again, unless you put a life into it. 10,000 plus hours, right? That's a lot of years. So if, don't compare yourself to these people. But if you can get, I don't know, part way, 3/4 of the way, 4/8 of the way, 5/8, I don't know, whatever that number is, man, you could be really good, right? So that's why you don't see me play anything fancy, especially if I'm singing. Like, I don't play. I mean, there's one song I do. I'm, I'm the way. No, I don't even use it for that. What do I use that B minor? I don't. If I'm singing, there's a song I do use a B minor. I just can't think of it. But yeah, I wouldn't use a bar chord when I'm singing. But just keep it simple. And you'll realize that there's so much you can do with such little, before you have to look with, such little ammunition, before you have to go and look for more ammunition. So in this case, we got a little, so this is the 1, 2 chord, 3, 4 chords, right? And what we're working on here is our touch and feel, as well as our strum, our timing. And look, I'm going to say this, and a lot of people don't like hearing this. You know this whole thing about timing? A lot of that is just a lot of overrated BS from snobs and, perfectionados. Look, yeah, I'm not saying it's not important, but again, it's not necessary for a few reasons. You already have built-in timing. You've been listening to songs since you were a kid. You tap your feet. You play the drums. You air drum in the car. You dance to them. You move your body to them. You snap your fingers to them. You get it. You know what a beat sounds like. You know what's quick. You know what's slow. you know, you know when they're not the same within reason, because nobody's perfect and nobody's the same, right? Everything's a little off somewhere. And that's just the way it is. And that's proven if anybody's ever tried to record themselves. You can actually look on the grid and see you hit this G that much sooner than you hit that G. You see what I'm saying? But you couldn't hear that, but it's there. So don't get all hung up on stuff. You have built-in timing. When you start learning how to play songs, you start learning the whole 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is to create a sense of internal timing so that you get to know what rhythm and how everything is supposed to move to get 4 beats in a bar that cover a certain specific amount of time, right? And if it's a slower song, you might be, you might be, if it's more, you might be only playing quarter notes, you might be playing eighth notes. You're playing to like building a Lego house. You're playing blocks or units of a chord by determining how many beats are in those blocks or units, right? So for example, if the song starts on D and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 to the C, but only one time, and then to the G, and then back to the D. And then it starts all over again. So you have 2 more. Okay? Now this is played in its most basic form. That's fine. Now, as you start to develop your right hand, you add an up. Maybe that's your first step. Or you add a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, rest, down, up, right? You break it up a little bit. Or maybe it's a simple down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Whatever that measure is to you. So, for example, if you're playing a song, we just did 2, that little thing we did, just a chord progression. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Whatever that unit is, 2 of them. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 1. So I played the exact same up-down sequence, right? And I tried my best, and you do as well as a beginner, to try to make sure everything is equal. But we're not computers, but we're already building that sense. Now, does it help to put a metronome on? Absolutely. The problem with that is it confused me, and it confuses a lot of people, and it pressures you. So all of a sudden, you stop listening to the music or thinking the music and trying to get that strum just perfect so that everything changes right. Because you're thinking about a click, and then all of a sudden you hear the click before you're at the G. Click, click before the C. Now you're out of time in your mind, and you panic, and then it just all falls apart, and you stop and you turn the thing off, right? Okay? Been there, done that. So, don't worry about it. Just, it's so much more important, because the reality of timing is, okay, timing, is it important? Yeah, sometimes. So, for a beginner that's going to play songs for yourself in your room, never in front of anybody, on and on and on, and even when you get to play in front of other people, you won't be playing with other people. Okay? You can do what you want. You can take a song and you can decide on the D, you could decide you're going to slow it down and stay on the D. Maybe you're looking at something. Maybe you're waiting for someone, maybe someone's not paying attention. Because you're playing on your own, nobody cares. Nobody cares how fast you play it or slow you play it. Nobody cares. Nobody knows any better. But if you're playing in a band or with a singer, someone's singing to your playing, well, that's different. You all have to be in the same place at the same time. You have to rely on each other. That's now you got to be both in the same what? Timing. So then it becomes important. It becomes important if you're trying to record your music. It's very important to be in time. For a lot of reasons that we won't get into here, but it's important. But it's not important enough that makes you mess everything up and get down on yourself because you think you're not in time or you're told you're not in time or you can't match the clicks on the damn metronome no matter how slow. Okay? Then turn the metronome off. Don't worry about it. It's important that there's so much more to timing when it comes to strumming out chords and making them sound like music and songs. There's so much more involved in timing that you don't have to don't worry. And when you get that good and comfortable, again, it's all about getting comfortable. When everything's on autopilot and this is just so cool and you're looking around and you're playing all your heart out and it sounds so great, you'll get there. But not today or tomorrow, like it's down the road. So in the meantime, we do what we can, right? But that's where you're heading. It's just to the point where you want. So it's so much easier when all it is that you have to worry about is your few open chords, and there's all the songs you're ever going to want to need. Now, if we get back to that little chord progression and what I meant by the evolution of the strum. So we got our D, 2 Ds, and C and D. So now we learned how to maybe add a strumming pattern to it, okay? So we go, all right, here we go. Ready? Right? We got our 2 Ds. Right? Let's do it again. Now we put it all together, right? Now, as our right hand starts to get a little bit better, you've already noticed a slight difference in the fact that we're coming from a chord progression, starting to mold it into some sort of a song. I want you to understand that nothing changed here. We did the exact same thing, right? As we learned day one. So important to remember that. What the change was and where the change was in the way we used our right hand. That made us sound different. Now, if we keep going, and I'm basically giving you a sort of a micro shell of your hopeful improvement. Some of you are already beyond this, and some of you are coming to this level. This is your evolution. You've got to go from strumming basic downs, getting your chords in tight. Then you got to start as soon as you can. Instead of going off, that whole point there was, don't go running off learning other stupid things, complicated things you're not ready for. Stay here, okay? And work on the right hand with these new chords you've learned. And that can now change quite well. So then all of a sudden now your right hand, you don't have to think about the left hand, okay? Your right hand can experiment, have a little artistic freedom. We can play these differently now because we have a little more experience. And what comes with experience? Confidence to try things like that little flick. Confidence, right? Makes you loose and creative. And how do you get confidence? Well, repeat something thousands of times until you know it in your sleep. And if you stick to just one thing, like rotating 2 or 3 chords together, you can concentrate on that and it can happen real quick. It's when you try to do too much and dedicate, think about this. If it takes, I'm just throwing it out there, but if it takes 300 hours to be able to smoothly do this, right? Nice and smooth, crisp changes, sounds okay. However, any strum pattern, basic strum pattern. Okay, so if I practice 2 hours a day, that's 175 days, 200 days. That's, oh my God, that's like 7 months, whatever, right? Like, it can add up. If I'm then expected to put that amount of time into learning how to play really nice sounding, decent sounding bar chords, right? There's another so many hours it's going to take me, and there's more hours and to learn. You'd be playing. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna be dealing with the 10,000 hour thing. You're gonna have to dedicate your life to learning the guitar. That's not what we want or need, right? We want to play songs. Learn your open chords. Learn how to do creative things with them, because you get so confident and comfortable doing them over and over again. All these chords, playing them over and over. Oh my God, yeah, it's amazing. Look, I know them all. When you can do that, look at all the little riffs you have. These little chord progressions, A minor, C, G, A minor, C, G, D, C, G, C, D. That's almost every song that you listen to on the radio at some point in your life. D, A, G, I don't know. Okay, so just different version of a G or a D for 2 beats. That's all he does. Other than that, you got. Now that's a chord progression and a little ditty from a well-known old acoustic-y song by someone very famous, right? And that's all it is 2 or 3 open chords that you learn day one. It's how you play them, right? So I'm leaving you with this. The more stuff you try to do and learn before you're ready, what you're doing, because you don't have a good guitar foundation, you're becoming a beginner every time, starting all over again, and feeling terrible all the time about your playing, and you're not getting anywhere. And next thing you know, it's 6 months, 7 months, 9 months, a year and a half, and you're not anywhere other than being able to noodle around in using different formats. If you have taken that time to stay with what you learned day one and polish it up, add to it slowly and surely, and build up a solid guitar foundation, then you're no longer a beginner. So then later on, when you decide to work on your timing and your scales, learn a few scales, maybe learn a couple of triads, maybe bar chords, maybe those power chords are good for me, whatever. You're a guitar player learning a new technique. Big difference than being a beginner learning a very difficult high-end, high-level technique. Big difference, right? It's like anything else in life. So you're more than welcome, Jonathan. We'll see you guys again soon. Remember, just play your guitar, because even if you're not even working on something, you're just watching TV, you're just noodling through time, and you're not necessarily practicing. But there's your guitar, you pick it up. Hey, if you just sit there and do this, while you're watching TV, or if you're more advanced, this is a great time to just pick out your notes. Sit there watching TV, just run those notes to that second fret like that. You don't have to know what they are, what you're doing. Just run those notes right there. Right there. So I'm using my big fat finger, this one here. Okay? So I know it's confusing when you watch it because you don't know if my other fingers are touching anything, but they're not. It's this fat finger right here. Okay? And we're going to start on the low, right here, lower on the end of the guitar, the high strings. That's your A. So your G string fretted at the 2nd fret. A, G. So that's the open string. Move it up and do the same thing. That's E, D. Move it up again, and you got B, A. And then with your ring finger, come up here and grab that G. You also got the E if you want a lower version of, because you're already fretting this E right here. See that E? There's a higher version, or like a lower version up here if you want it. Right? So you don't have to know that. But you do have to train, remember? The motor skills, this is where all the motor skills come in. Right? You have to train your fingers to move as you need them to move. Pluck where you have to pluck. Right hand pluck where you got a right hand pluck, and the finger has to be there unless you're playing an open string. Right? You don't have to know music to do this. This is a skill. But you're actually playing a musical scale. But if I told you this today, we're going to learn a scale, a lot of you go, oh, screw that, I ain't learning no scales. Scales suck, man. I hate scales. And you're right, but there's your scale. There's your scale, right? But you just assign it now to your open chords. So now I know I have worked on this for a week, let's say. Getting pretty good with my fingers. They're sounding good. Oh, that was a bad one. My ear told me I went too high. I shouldn't have played that B string because it sounds like what? Shit. Doesn't go with what we're doing. So that's how you learn. So the next time you come down, you know you stop there. And then play a G chord just because you can. So let's do that again. Start on an A, G. Hear that? There's the G, A, or the A, G. G, A, G. Let's start here. Do a little picking. Come up to the next one. Go back to the G, A. Come up. G, E, G. Right? Or end it any way you want. But whatever your last note when you hit that G, you could then just break into a G chord. If you decide to end on the E, so you come up, right, something like this. You still hit the G chord. So you're not bound by anything. Right? Again, I'm only using, I don't know how well that's coming out. I know I'm a little distance today than I normally am, but I'm only using this finger to play the notes, and then I use the full regular way to play the chord that you learned day one. So I'm just dabbing, and there's no, if you want to memorize the order I'm doing it, go ahead, but just do it. And all of a sudden you're going to start hearing that if I just do this, I can sort of get a little bit of a thing, like a melody going, but what I'm doing here, right, is I'm playing the note exactly the same part, right? The same distance apart. Right? Okay. It's great. It's fantastic. But it's not the best. Just like you play your chords. It's great. Hey, you're doing great. Oh, Ray's learning the guitar. Look at him go. 3 chords. Yay. Right? Get your piece of paper, you put it on the wall, level 2, level 3, whatever it is. That's great. But that's not where it ends, right? You're still doing the same thing, but you refine it. Then you start realizing, oh, you know what? I don't have to play every note exactly apart, the same distance. I can let the note ring out. Right? Or now it's starting to form something, musical ideas. And all you're playing is just these 6 notes, 3 strings. Then you throw in the C and the G. But you don't have to. I mean, you could still make little melodies like this. Right? Listen. Little melodies just by like changing one at the end or whatever. They're there. Man, and then once you throw in those 2 notes there, and now you can really whatever. Like you can get something going with just those one finger and a few strings. You can get a lot of stuff going. You can get a groove going. No bar chords, no power chords, no fancy triads, no weird hands going anywhere. Just one finger and a thumb. And for the most part, some practice. It's not like I didn't rehearse any of that. Like, I don't know, I was just dicking around. I mean, but yeah, practice to get it to that point where you can just take that finger and not really worry about it and know you exactly. And now because that's on autopilot, this part here, my brain can start thinking, let's think of melody. Let's think of... Right, whatever. Let's get some texture and feel into the music or the notes that we're playing. Make them mean something and start forming your musical idea. All right, so look, beginner stuff, but you see how we could go from a beginner to that in no time. Now, could I pass the intermediate test? Probably not, because I probably could, because you have to be able to play like I think chord progressions in bar form, bar chords, I think. Intermediate is all about bar chords, and you got to know, I think, a couple of scales. I guess I'm probably an intermediate player, right? But I don't use, as I mentioned before, I don't use anything fancy unless I have to. And that's another show, because there are things that I do. I play triads and I play certain chords that a lot of times, not only to avoid playing the bar chord, because a lot of them, it hurts me, but I just think it sounds a little better. And it's easier. And as I said earlier, the less movement as a beginner, when you're learning how your chords, where they are, the less movement. I know I see people say, oh, take everything off and put it back on. And you know what? That's good at the beginning when you're testing yourself. Like when you think you're getting pretty good, you go, okay, let's have a competition. How many times can I take my hand off my leg and form a perfect G in a row? Right? And then, is it 5 out of 10? Whatever it is. You get the clunker, you get the bad. Yeah, that's a good exercise. But when I'm playing a song, I don't want to be moving around. I want the smoothest, quickest path. And I don't want my fingers to be far from the string. That's just me. I just felt that when I stopped worrying about the chord change being by the book, and I started implementing little things that made me change. That's another reason I switched my G from here to like this, because it just fit everything I was playing at the time, which was G, C major 7, E minor, C major. See, I'm just shifting from back and forth from that C. If I want it to be a full C, just put that finger down. It's all here. 3 chords with barely moving, and then we can go down to that F, knowing I got my A minors right there, back to the F. Then I got my D minor. Look, same parallel, just moving a finger to another string. It's all there. D minor, F, C, A minor, C, E, G. It's all there. That's once I now that got me freed up time and freed up. It made me sound a little smoother, I guess. You know. Oh, hello, Dolores. You are almost too late, darling. Or I think it's Dolores, so I shouldn't say that because I don't know. But it looks like it from here. Again, I don't read the greatest, but from that distance. But yeah, I've been at it a while. But the replay will be up. Okay, you'll be able to watch the replay because I don't think I broke any copyright, so I think we're good here. But again, the overall message, I will show people anything. But the overall message, and anybody will, there are millions of places on social media, which to me is a problem, where you can get all this information from and all these techniques. But I want you to understand that you don't know where those things this person is showing you, you don't know where they belong in your overall universe. And right now, certain things don't belong in there because you're not there yet physically or theoretically as well. And it really is important to understand that when you're starting out because you only have so much time and there's no room for forgiveness. Whatever you do on this or most instruments, there's playing them by the book and then there's playing them. When you start putting yourself into them, and that means your strumming is going to change, right? Maybe the tension around your chords is going to change. Your chord changes. You're going to start making modifications the way you change. This isn't something you need to worry about right now as a beginner. You're doing the right thing. Just don't expand too much. Just keep it simple until you really get these hands working together. That's the best advice. If I wish I'd have listened to that, because for those of you that don't know, I told you about the 2 times I quit. I didn't tell you, and I will close with this. About the 3rd time I said this. The last thing I'm going to tell you was when I just did it my way. I literally didn't see anybody for just a few weeks and was just strumming away and perfecting. And I went to we used to get together and have a few pops and get the guitars out. And I would wait, and I was pretty calm and reserved. And I waited for my opportunity where I knew what songs, because I knew everybody's repertoire. It was always the same 3 or 4 songs they'd play every time we got together. And I waited. And then I jumped in and played my GCDs. That's exactly what it was. And it's like, holy jumping, Ray. What are you doing, bud? Like, oh my God, that was pretty good. Yeah, whatever. And then you don't give them too much, right? A little more, because that was what it used to be when I was really, really bad. They'd let me go on first, play a few songs. Let's do what Ray wants to do. Then he shuts up, and then we can jam. That was basically it. So, I would use that after. I would just give him a little bit. And then maybe I didn't see him again for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And people were like, holy jumping. Like, so it's kind of like losing weight, or gaining weight. You don't notice it on yourself until someone who hasn't seen you for a while and they go, holy jumping, you're changed. Well, it's the same with the guitar playing, right? Is that people didn't see me. And I was the point of this, because I was just polishing these 3, 4, 5 open chords. By then it was 5, and I was starting to play songs. And if you know, as you know, those 4 chords together, you can play. Well, you won't be able to memorize the number of songs you can play in a lifetime. Like it's so many, right? And and I'm like, holy shit, this is starting to get easy. And I just kept going and going and going. So, hey, don't worry about it. Figure out what you want to do with the guitar and specifically learn what it is you need to learn in order to do what you want to do. You want to play some country songs? Then get your bum out there and learn G, C, D, and either E minor or A minor to go with it. And learn how to just get these. Don't worry about anything else. Theory and keys and bar chords and power chords and all that garbage. Don't worry about it. You don't need it. Just focus on your 3, 4 chords, right? It might be one song. I mean, I don't want to do it because I'll trip the copyright, but there's a song I always wanted to play and I couldn't play it. Anyways, I finally learned how to play it. I'll do that next time. But, all right. See you later. If you don't know who I am a nobody, but if you think I can help you learn guitar or at least make you feel good about learning guitar, hit the old subscriber-rooney button because it's a nice way to say thanks. I know many of you already have. The channel keeps growing. I'm quite surprised. This isn't what I expected, and it's not, it's becoming a beast in its own, I think. And that's only at my small numbers. So I can only imagine if they truly are just individuals with all these followers and stuff, it's quite demanding. I enjoy doing it. And if you think I can help you, hit the subscribe. I got some things coming I won't talk about yet because they're not ready, but that would help not only you, but also support me. But that's for another day. And we just got to get you playing guitar, all right? And once you're there, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll look back and go, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Now I can go and learn anything I want on guitar because I know how to play the guitar. See you later. Right here, the D. Okay. We ran out of track. Oh.
Why is Amazon paying me $600 a day? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way to...
Wow, I wish I made $600 a day. See ya, folks. Super.